May is one of those months that can really make or break your gardening year. It's a high leverage period where the right actions can set you up for a season of abundance. But honestly, the wrong moves can leave you scrambling to catch up. Most gardeners waste May, seeds go in late, soil isn't prepped properly, and by the time plants finally establish, the growing window's already shrinking. That mistake costs weeks of production, weaker harvests, and in some climates, complete crop failure before maturity. May is not a casual planting month. It's a high-leverage moment where timing, temperature, and crop choice determine whether the season peaks or plateaus. The difference between an average garden and a productive one in May comes down to starting strong and starting right. Soil temperatures are rising, daylight is increasing, and growth accelerates fast, but only if seeds are given consistent moisture and warmth from day one. That's where tools like the Jiffy 72 Cell Seed Starting Greenhouse Kit become more than convenience. It creates a controlled microclimate that keeps germination rates high and uniform, especially for heat-loving crops that struggle with uneven outdoor conditions. By choosing these methods, you're not just making things easier for yourself, you're also, supporting a more sustainable way to grow food at home. Every little bit helps, both for your garden and the environment. It's from Amazon, and this content uses Amazon affiliate links, meaning a small commission may be earned from qualifying purchases at no extra cost, which helps support a dog rescue organization. It's linked in the description below. That support matters more than it might seem. Dog rescue organizations rely entirely on donations to rescue, feed, and treat abandoned and injured animals. Every small contribution keeps that work going. Anyone finding value in growing their own food and building something sustainable can extend that impact by supporting something equally meaningful. Even the smallest donation helps save lives and gives animals a second chance. Right, let's dive into the specifics of growing crops, starting with tomatoes and moving on to cucumbers. Each of these plants has its own unique needs and, understanding these can make all the difference in your harvest. So let's break down what makes these crops tick and how you can give them the best possible start. Tomatoes should already be in motion by May, but they can still be started effectively if handled correctly. Direct sowing rarely works well because soil temperatures fluctuate too much at night. Starting seeds in trays with a consistent 24 to 28 degrees Celsius environment accelerates germination to around 5 to 7 days. Once seedlings reach about 10 to 15 centimeters, transplanting into deeply prepared soil, buried up to the first set of true leaves, encourages strong root systems. Raised beds with a compost-to-soil ratio of about 30% produce noticeably better early growth. Peppers demand patience, but, May is still viable if heat is managed properly. Seeds require consistent warmth, ideally around 26 to 30 degrees Celsius, and honestly, uneven conditions will delay germination by weeks. Using a covered seed tray setup keeps humidity stable and, prevents drying out, which is a common failure point. Once transplanted, spacing of at least 40 centimeters between plants allows proper airflow and reduces fungal pressure later in the season. Now, when you're planning your garden, it's also really important to think about what comes after the peppers. For example, cucumbers and corn can follow nicely in the rotation, helping to keep the soil healthy and productive. Cucumbers are often rushed, and that backfires. Seeds germinate quickly, usually within 3 to 5 days, but they really hate root disturbance. Direct sowing works well if soil temperatures are above 20 degrees Celsius, but starting in individual cells prevents transplant shock if done carefully. Trellising early is non-negotiable. A vertical system improves airflow, reduces disease, and increases usable space dramatically, especially in small backyard setups. Beans are one of the most forgiving crops in May, but soil condition matters more than most realize. Over-fertilizing with nitrogen creates lush leaves and weak pods. Beans fix their own nitrogen, so a balanced soil with moderate compost is enough. Plant seeds about 2 to 3 centimeters deep, spaced roughly 10 centimeters apart. Germination happens quickly, often within a week, and consistent harvesting encourages continuous production. Zucchini thrives in May, but spacing is where most growers fail. Crowded plants lead to poor airflow and powdery mildew. Each plant needs at least 90 centimeters of space. Seeds germinate fast in warm soil, and production can start within 40 to 50 days. Regular watering at the base, not overhead, prevents leaf diseases that can wipe out plants quickly. Corn requires commitment. Planting a few scattered rows won't produce proper pollination. Corn needs to be planted in blocks, at least 4 rows deep, with spacing of about 25 to 30 centimeters between plants. The soil should be rich in organic matter, and honestly, consistent watering is absolutely critical during tasseling. Without it, kernels develop poorly. Carrots can be started in May, but, soil preparation really determines success. Loose, stone-free soil allows roots to grow straight and uniform. So, as we've seen, careful planning and understanding your soil are key to a successful harvest. With the right preparation, you can enjoy a variety of fresh, homegrown vegetables throughout the season. Happy gardening! So, carrot seeds are really tiny and should be sown just shallowly, about half a centimeter deep. You'll want to keep the soil consistently moist until they germinate, which honestly can take up to 2 weeks. Mixing the seeds with a bit of sand before sowing, well, it really helps spread them out more evenly and reduces the need for thinning later on. Beets are pretty amazing because you get both the roots and the greens, making them, highly efficient. The seeds are actually clusters, so you'll need to thin them out once the seedlings start to pop up. Spacing them about 8 to 10 centimeters apart gives the roots plenty of room to develop properly. And keeping the soil consistently moist helps prevent those woody textures and keeps the growth steady. Lettuce can really struggle when it gets hot, but planting in May is still possible if you pick your varieties carefully. Choosing heat-tolerant types and giving them a bit of partial shade can definitely help extend productivity. In hydroponic setups, it's important to keep the nutrient solution below 24 degrees Celsius to stop the plants from bolting. Regularly harvesting the outer leaves will keep your lettuces producing for longer. Now, spinach is a bit trickier in May, but it's not impossible. It needs cooler conditions, so providing partial shade and watering frequently can help delay bolting. If you go for fast-growing varieties and manage the conditions well, you can still get a usable harvest in about 30 days. Okra thrives in heat and performs exceptionally well when started in May. Seeds benefit from soaking in water for 12 to 24 hours before planting to speed up germination. Soil temperatures should be consistently above 21 degrees Celsius. Plants grow tall, so spacing of at least 40 centimeters is essential. Pumpkins need space and planning. Each plant can spread several meters, so positioning matters. Soil enriched with compost supports rapid growth. Seeds germinate quickly in warm conditions, and consistent watering during fruit development prevents splitting. Sweet potatoes are often overlooked, but May is actually ideal for planting slips. They need warm soil and, plenty of space to spread out. A loose, sandy soil mix really helps improve root expansion. Regular watering during establishment is critical, but once they're settled in, sweet potatoes tolerate dry conditions surprisingly well. Every one of these crops responds to strong starts, and that's where controlled germination tools, honestly, continue to prove their value. Consistency in those first 7 to 10 days often determines the entire season's outcome. Even experienced growers see measurable differences when seedlings emerge evenly and develop without stress. May is not about experimenting randomly. It's about, executing with precision while conditions are optimal. The difference really shows up weeks later when one garden is producing heavily and another is still trying to catch up. That gap never fully closes once it opens. Growing better food comes down to understanding timing, respecting plant needs, and using the right tools where they actually make a difference. Subscribe and share this with someone who takes their gardens seriously, because honestly, better knowledge leads to better harvests. And for anyone aiming to get consistent germination and stronger starts this season, that seed starting kit quietly earns its place in the setup without needing to be complicated.